What's up, everybody? Another great episode coming your way. This is a little bit of basketball history, and you're gonna want to watch this because there's a great comparison between the two top players in the league while Michael Jordan was at his prime. So we're talking about Clyde Drexler here, who was compared to Michael Jordan and pretty much named an equal to him. Now, Clyde Drexler, a couple years back, had an interview with Chris Broussard, and he was asked if he thought that Michael Jordan was better than him. And his answer was a little bit of basketball revisionist history, Michael Jordan revisionist history, because Clyde Drexler made a statement that was so, to me, profoundly outlandish that it just doesn't hold any water. So I started looking into statistics, and you know me, I look into stats, I compare, I see exactly what the truth is, because the numbers most of the time don't lie. They can be manipulated, but not in this case. So I'm going to show you the video of Clyde Drexler saying what he said, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to break down in detail and destroy his argument without a doubt, so you can see how much of a difference there was between Clyde Drexler and Michael Jordan, and that Clyde Drexler wasn't even close. So watch this statement by Clyde Drexler after the question from Chris Broussard, and I'll be right back with you, showing you some stats and comparing these two players and basically annihilating Clyde Drexler's argument.
Did you feel like you were better than Jordan?
I always felt like there was nobody better if I played the way I should have played.
Okay.
If I come out and compete, it's going to be very few guys better. And if they are, you shake their hand and say, congrats.
But you don't go, now you don't look and say, yeah, Michael was better than me. You feel like...
Let me tell you something. What I feel like is I can compete with anybody. I mean, obviously that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But it's all about performance. You know, the difference is if you're taking 35 shots and I'm taking 20, you're going to have more points.
Yeah.
Bottom line. But I'm going to make you work and you can't guard me.
Yeah.
So you look at it from a perspective, I still can do with everything I do, no matter who's on me. What can I stop you from doing? Mm-hmm. Well, I can't stop you from getting 35 points because you're going to get a lot of attempts. But I can make you shoot a worse percentage.
Yeah.
Make you work for it. And so that's the way you think. You're going to make him earn everything.
So you saw Clyde Drexler and his statement on Michael Jordan. And he said that, I think he was referencing to the NBA Finals in 1992. Because Clyde said, if you're averaging 35 shot attempts, if you're taking 35 shot attempts, you're going to average more points. Michael Jordan never took 35 shot attempts in the NBA Finals. He took 25 shot attempts in the NBA Finals, and Clyde mentioned 20 for himself, which is correct because he took about 19.6. But I'm going to show you exact stats comparing these two guys during the regular season, and then what happened and how Michael Jordan annihilated Clyde Drexler in the 1992 NBA Finals. It was a total destruction of this man. So let me show you these stats. And I think, like I said, this is what Clyde was referencing, but his numbers just got a little bit skewed. So I don't know if something's going on with his memory or whatever it might be. He might have just made a normal mistake, but of course, people make mistakes that are positive for them, negative for somebody else, right? So, okay, let me show you these statistics. Hold on. So Clyde Drexler was basically saying he'd be better than Michael Jordan, or at least as good if he took as many shots. Now, let's take a look. These are all career games between Clyde Drexler and Michael Jordan. All 23 of them, and they do include the 1992 NBA Finals. As you can see, Michael Jordan won 14 of those games to Clyde Drexler winning 9 of those games. And Clyde Drexler was mentioning that he would average more points or the same amount of points than Michael if he took the same amount of shots. Well, Michael Jordan, through that whole 23 games, averaged 34.9 points a game to Clyde Drexler's 23.9 points a game. So he beat Drexler pretty much by 11 points over their career matchups. And when Clyde Drexler said that he was as good, he would take as many shots, and he would have the same points, when you look at the career field goal percentage, Michael Jordan had a much better field goal percentage in all these 23 matchups of 48.6 to Clyde's 45.7. And these guys were guarding themselves. So Mike averaged almost 50%. Now, if you look at the assists, Michael was better in assists. Michael was better in steals, so a better defender. Michael was even with Clyde Drexler on blocks, and very slightly worse than Clyde Drexler on rebounds. But overall, Mike dominated Clyde Drexler in all those 23 matchups. But now I'm going to show you what happened in the NBA Finals, where the annihilation of Clyde Drexler by Michael Jordan took place. Take a look. So again, I'm going to mention that Michael Jordan averaged about 25 shots a game to Clyde Drexler's 20 shots a game in the NBA Finals. And this is what happened. The points per game was a total dominance by Michael Jordan at 35.8. So he increased by a point from all the matchups that they had against each other. And Clyde Drexler averaged 24.8 points per game. So Michael Jordan averaged, again, 11 points more. On rebounds, Clyde had the only advantage with 7.8 rebounds to Michael's 4.8 rebounds during those finals. So that's a clear advantage for Clyde Drexler. Then you get 6.5 assists of Michael Jordan to 5.3 of Clyde Drexler, and Mike is also better in steals. So a better defender, better distributor, while averaging 11 more points than Clyde. Now, if you look at the field goal percentage, this is where the annihilation happens. That field goal percentage was a total dominance of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, guarded by Clyde Drexler, averaged 52.6% from the field, while Drexler was shut down completely to 41%. It doesn't matter if Clyde took 25 shots, he wouldn't have averaged as much as Michael Jordan did, period. So if you just looked at these numbers and compared everything, and Michael Jordan just averaged 5 more shots, but he shot 11% better than you. He shot almost 53% against you in the NBA Finals. So like I'm saying, I don't know where Clyde Drexler's memory failed him, or did he say that on purpose? Because it kind of seems to me that he said it on purpose to elevate his own position and make it look like he was as good as Michael Jordan was, because if he averaged the same amount of shots, he would have averaged the same amount of points. The only way that would have happened is Clyde averaged 24.8 points. So for him to average even 35, he would have to take 5 more shots and hit them all. He was shooting 41% in the NBA Finals. That would not have happened. He should have been more aggressive. He should have been a tougher player. He should have played defense a little bit better. And now not try to revise history and make people think that he was as good as Michael Jordan, or he dominated Michael Jordan in some occasions. Michael Jordan said himself that Clyde Drexler was a threat and he was a great player. But when he went to those finals, he wanted to prove, and he did, that Clyde Drexler was nowhere near his level. Take a look at these clips from Michael Jordan talking about Clyde Drexler after knowing all of this information and seeing how Clyde Drexler talks a little bit disrespectfully, even though I know he's a nice guy, about Michael Jordan, and then how Michael Jordan talked about Clyde Drexler. And then after that, I'm going to end the video and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.
Well, Clyde is somewhat of a mirror of me in a sense. I mean, he's so versatile. He plays offense, he plays defense. He's good with assists, he can score. So you got to respect him in all areas of basketball. I'm just going to try to contain him as much as possible. Try to force him to shoot the outside shot, as most people try to force me to shoot the outside shot, and force him to his weaker hand, which is left. And that's what people do to me. So hopefully it can work against him. Clyde was a threat.
You know, I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.